Many thanks again for staying with us on your ultimate news and current affairs program on television, TMI. We're looking straight to our next major issue to talk about before we call it a wrap on the program today. There was heavy explosion at the Rivers State House of Assembly. We read that earlier today during the paper's headlines, and questions have been asked. Concerns are being expressed as to what could have led to such a major catastrophic activity taking place in Rivers State. Well, in the rumor mill, some are saying that this could just be a result of a breakdown in the relationship between the immediate past governor of that state, who is now a minister in the FCT, and the incumbent governor in that state. These are speculations, but it's a huge, huge concern considering the level of destruction of that explosion. But thank God it didn't happen during the session in that house. I mean, what could have happened is best imagined. But Rivers State has been a bit peaceful in recent times. Maybe some of the times that we had some of these cantankerous dispositions, was really when the governor, Wike, was there. But all of that has gone down the drain in terms of being quiet. And then, of course, we can recall when Wike was a minister, and then someone else was the governor of that state, and some of the cantankerous and the confrontations that took place, particularly in that house. It was really a war between Wike and Rotimi Amechi as the governor of that state. Remember how one of the legislators in the House of Assembly was beaten to a pulp with the mace used to bust his head and all of that. We haven't seen that in a long, long while, and I just thought that would have been a thing of the past in that state. But let's hope that security agents will go deep into the matter and perhaps unravel the circumstances and the situation that led to that explosion. Yes, Praise.
Well, in your intro, I tried as much as possible not to laugh.
Not to laugh, why?
Because it's so funny. What do you expect?
In terms of what now?
What do you expect, Duke, when you have anointed candidates whom you feel they are supposed to look after your back, like try to cover some of your shady deals? Because how do you explain it? You are leaving office and you try to bring in
impose someone
on the people, on the party, the entirety of Rivers State. Are you saying they cannot, on their own, get someone that can take over from you successfully from that same party? Now, you brought this man in. He looks quiet anyway, probably with his calm disposition, but politicians are always politicians. Now, Porakot, you just gave up in your analysis, you said Rivers State has always been
a hotbed for violence and all of those stuff.
It has been.
Yeah.
So you can't take it away from politicians from that axis. But South as a whole, you should well know us for that. Somewhere in Edo State, there was a time they removed a whole roof of the House of Assembly. The roof was removed overnight. They removed the roof overnight and poured granite or whatever
and sand and commenced construction work.
They wanted to do construction overnight.
Renovation, yeah.
It was still in those in South. Let's not just narrate those states where we saw someone almost hacked somebody to death.
Yeah,
it's synonymous in this part of the world. But how did we come here? We should understand that a governor is a governor. Power have a way of changing your personality. Power, if you put someone in power, no matter how lowly placed that person is, in as much as that person is in power, if you actually put that person in, the person have his own right of judgment. He might want to do things on his own. He's feeling like the executive governor of the state, for crying out loud. Allow him govern the state. You can give counsel, you can advise, but not to start making the guy look as if he's impotent. If you make him look as if he's impotent, he has his own loyalists. He's in power now. He will have his own talks. He will have his own guys in the House of Assembly too, because he wants to secure his own position. Yes, all thanks to Wike, who helped him to get
to power,
to the office. But we should understand that when you give birth to a child, the child will grow one day.
Okay, but
the child will learn how to talk.
I feel a little bit different, you know, on this issue. At first, I don't want to believe just here that that's exactly the case in Rivers State. I want to believe that there are other ancillary issues leading to what has happened. Yes, which the security agencies would unravel. But if that were to be the case, I'm deeply concerned because some of these political leaders, they are not smart. They are not smart in the sense that you're just barely how many weeks old in government. Are you already having a friction with the leadership? A system like that played out in Edo State, where the governor that was in the saddle, the political hangers-on around him, they encouraged him to fall out with the leadership of the party through which he came to power. They encouraged him to say, look, you got to start building your structures now. You got to start thinking of the next election, because the average politician always thinks about the next election.
The next election.
Once they are elected, after all the hullabaloo about the election is rested, particularly when the election tribunal has given them a stamp duty.
Since it's a new trend now.
Yes, it's giving them
after
a stamp
election,
duty.
We need to go
to go ahead and you know, govern the people. They just feel that all is well, rather than thinking about how they can truly make an impact in the lives of the people who elected them. They are thinking about the next election.
Secure the office.
No, they're thinking about the next election. And in thinking about the next election, you always have this friction with the powers that be that brought them on board. And so when that friction comes up, the governance that he was supposed to be focused on, he can't do it anymore, because he's thinking about how he can outwit the godfathers or the leaders who brought him to power, and so he's distracted, disfocused from what he's supposed to do for the people. In my opinion, you should play along and strike when it's least expected. If you're going to just start hitting on the polity, because it is history, I mean, history that has repeated itself over and over again. Unfortunately, politicians being who they are, they don't learn. Okay, let's say some of them, they don't learn. They don't learn. You know, when you look at the world generally, we say the world is a global village. There's really nothing that you want to know that is not there in the political space, in the economic space, in the academic space. There is really no new knowledge out there that you want to have that is not available. Just put yourself, your mind into research, you get the information that you need to operate with. But what you find is that many of our people, or politicians, they don't learn from history. It is history that the outgone governor will always be at loggerheads with the incumbent, most especially if the outgone governor was the one that facilitated, no, not facilitated, was the one who imposed the incumbent.
Thank God you actually...
Yes, the one who imposed the incumbent.
And you can't fight.
And the outgone would think that the status quo will remain. No, sir, it's not going to work that way. The incumbent at some point, like you said, will say, look, I am the chief executive officer, and I need to exercise my powers, my rights, my authority. We've seen instances where some former governors were actually banned from the states they came from by the incumbent that they helped to bring to power. That's why we always advise that, look, you've got to allow transparency, equity, fairness, and accountability to come into play in the process of selection. Don't impose people. When you do, those same people will come around and haunt you, not you, I mean them.
Now, of course.
Because the guy knows that you are the one that made it possible for me. Like they say, if you want to kill a snake, where do you go to? You go for the head.
That's the first thing.
So he knows that if he doesn't take you out, or the leader out, you are going to be the one who will now rally around on how he will be removed. So he will strike you first. But sometimes they don't do it with wit. They do it in a way and manner that they make the state rancorous, and in a state of disorganization, that really will not augur well for the people.
You know, with his partial defection into APC now,
yes,
he doesn't really have weight on the party's leadership at the state level. So he might want to use the House of Assembly because he too single-handedly brought those candidates.
Yes,
who are now representing.
Let me tell you, Praise.
Yeah.
You see, the truth is, if you're not in power, you are not in power. If you're an outsider, you're an outsider. As Wike is now.
But in the case of Wike,
yes,
the man is stubborn. Do you know that?
No, it's not. When he's stubborn, but he met his match in Rotimi Amechi as the governor of that state, and there are characters like that in that state. The governor, as it is now, the governor as it is now is the chief executive officer.
Definitely,
is the chief security officer. Is the alpha and omega. Let me put it that way, literally, in that state. If he tells Wike, you are banned from the state, he stays banned. Are you following what I'm saying? Because of the enormity of the powers available to him. The
Constitution has given him.
But my concern is that whatever we do, whatever we don't do, we should be concerned about how it affects the ordinary man on the street. The Rivers people whose resources are at your disposal, you're holding it in trust for them to be able to make lives better for them.
Yeah. But I think at this point, there's no need to start heating up the polity in Port Harcourt. They've had enough. They've gone through a lot from the previous administrations, Wike versus Amechi, Amechi versus whoever. I think they should just understand that it's time to start giving back. Well, Amechi actually, what's his name now, Wike, he actually did well. He tried. We saw so many flyovers,
yes,
so many projects.
Yes, he did.
In fact, they nicknamed him Mr. Project. I think it should allow this guy build on all this.
Yeah, because that's what he has going for himself. Yeah. The fact that he was able to, in spite of being a very stubborn person, which a lot of people like, because when he says this or whatever he says, he follows it up with action. That's the kind of leadership Nigeria needs. You say something, you don't bend it, you follow it up with action. And he's brought that same spirit to the FCT and to put things in order.
Even though it has not been easy for him anyway.
It's not going to be easy because it's a new environment and there's going to be resistance and all of that. But you know, if he stays on the side of the law, I mean, he's not going to have a problem. If you have a mansion in Abuja, you're supposed to be paying ground rent. Pay the ground rent. I mean, in some of the countries, big countries of the world, they don't have oil. They rely on tax. Ground rent, whatever the tax, they rely on tax. You don't pay tax, you will be jailed. I mean, it's sacrosanct. They know. Many of our politicians, they have properties abroad. They pay. So if you pay abroad, why don't you want to pay back home? You like what you see abroad, and you don't want to replicate it here.
99.9%.
That's the point. Look at the billions of. I mean, there was a story. There was one particular video. I almost laughed my heart out. What was he about? The new Comptroller General of Customs (CG) led his team to visit Wike at the FCDA headquarters, or what they call it. Now, what was the CG's purpose of that visit? There's a property that was allocated to customs to build a school or something for over 18 years or how many years? Nothing was done on that plot of land.
Wow.
Wike got to Abuja and revoked that property. That's the reason why the CG went. And the guy simply told the CG, well, thank you for the visit, but this land has been revoked. We can't give it to you. Again.
Forget about it.
There was a time frame within which you're supposed to be developing this property. Nothing was done.
For this past 18 years.
Yes, or even more.
All the money
nothing was done on that property.
Received by some
and
individuals.
For that reason, you are not getting this property back. And mind you, part of the reason why we will not give you this property back is because you are supposed to even lead others. So we will use you. We will use you to show example. Because if we do it for you now, others will use that as a banner to say, oh, you did it for this person, you must do it for us. For that reason, we're not giving you that property. But and if you go to FCT, there are a lot of properties sprawling all over the place, acquired by people with some questionable documentation in terms of the intentions of that property. But then they don't do anything. It's just lying fallow. And then the property is appreciating. is appreciating. There are people who genuinely need those properties for development. They don't get access to those properties because they don't have,
just left like that in the heart of a city.
Because they don't have contact. They are not close to the powers that be and all of that. So that's the challenge we're having.
I think at this point, this is what Wike should be doing now. Leave Rivers State alone.
And focus.
You have a lot to do. In fact, his hands are tied. As well as I saw,
his hands are full.
In fact, I saw where he was visited recently.
Yes.
The Esunupe.
Yes.
Sabubakar, the emir of Bida, paid him a cost visit.
Yes.
Led some leadership of the central banks in Abuja to see him. So he should focus on delivering while he was appointed as a minister to the FCT. Leave Rivers alone. Just imagine this kind of damage now.
That has taken place.
Only God knows if lives were not taken.
Well, there's no record of any life lost, but properties have been destroyed at the expense of the taxpayers, at the expense of the resources of Rivers people. This place that has been destroyed will be rebuilt. All right? So monies that would have been used to produce more flyovers, more roads, more
now be diverted into renovating and rehabilitating,
into renovating
destroyed buildings.
These places. Yes, so that's what the problem is.
Who did this to us as a nation?
Yeah, well, you can ask that question again and again and again, and as the more you ask the question, the more we ask the question.
The answers will just fade out.
Just be elusive. Anyways, that's our package today on the show TMI on the ITV network. We hope you had a great time with all the discussions and all the conversations that we had on the show today. I want to say big thanks to all our operational crew members behind the stage that made the show a huge success. From Daniel.
Do have yourself a blessed week ahead, and Wike, leave Rivers people alone.
Okay. I hope he hears you on that. But that's okay. Wike is a great man. Just to remind our aspirants for the Edo 2024
governorship
election that you can really trust and rely on ITV Radio to give you that platform to interact, interface, and engage with your party members through the program Road to Edo 2024, specially designed and built for that purpose. Join us today at 5:30. We'll be interacting with Honorable John Ehirachoma Yakubu, who is our guest on Road to Edo 2024 today by 5:30 p.m. Don't miss it. On behalf of the entire crew, I'm Sonny Duke Okosun, wishing you a great week ahead, and bye for now.